right, let's dive on into this next one, huh? So this is a Ashe Freljord Noxious mid-range aggro, whatever you want to call it, with Ashe as the headlining champion, is something that's been in various tiers all the way up to tier 1 at different points in the format. So Ashe is a very powerful champ. 5-3 for 4. When she attacks, she frostbites the strongest enemy unit, setting its power to 0. She levels when you frostbitten 5+ enemies over the course of the game. And then her leveled mode says enemies with 0 power can't block. So she provides a form of evasion that's very good at closing games out in the mid game. So we pair her with a bunch of other frostbite things, obviously. We've got some Caught in the Cold, some Ice Veil Archers, some Brittle Steels, some Flash Freezes, some Harsh Winds at the top end. And then the thing that this deck is notably doing differently than some of the other builds of Ashe is that as opposed to playing Sejani or other pieces of top end, it's looking to leverage Darius as a Noxious champion for the second champion. And I kind of like this idea. This deck has a lot of chunky units in it, and you frequently get your opponent down to 10 life, and Darius closes games out very quickly. So 6-5 with Overwhelm for 6, that levels up when the enemy Nexus has 10 or less life, and his leveled mode ends games very quickly because he one-shots the Nexus basically if they don't have a blocker. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this and see how it goes. All 40 cards are up. Okay, so there won't be spoilers today because the full thing's released. Opponent is playing Mono Braum with Target. Okay, so probably like an in-street build looking to get to Braum as quickly as possible. I imagine there's gems and stuff. Yeah, probably playing Written in the Stars, the invoke cards to find him too. I'm going to mulligan the Flash Freeze, and I'm going to keep the 2, 4, and 5. Just looking to have a nice curve here.
Victory requires a sharp blade. I'll cut them apart.
Okay. This fills out the curve at least here. That's fine, right? It's an Omen. It's an Omen Hawk. They can trade.
I will unite the Freljord.
The deck editor desperately needs a craft all button. Really surprised that hasn't happened yet.
Enter, traveler, and stop staring.
Stop standing.
Stand together. You are mine.
So we'll hook the one that's getting frostbitten here. Gonna have a really good curve here for our first game. We're gonna get to play Trifarian here and draw a couple cards. And then next turn we get to slam Darius and kill them.
This will be a good winter. Blessed by snow and stars.
Let's see what you've got. No backing down.
These blocks are probably bad against, Pale Cascade, huh? I guess I do this, and then double Troll Chant here, and then I don't lose to Pale Cascade. Let's do that. I could try and get, like, the 2-for-1 with it, but I think the downside of losing my Ashe to Pale Cascade is too high there. Yeah, I'm not sure on Caught on the Cold either. I think Caught in the Cold could maybe be better as we're only playing 2 copies of Flash Freeze, and I think that card's very good right now. So I could see that being a worthwhile exchange. Impressive start for us here.
The war is over.
Pretty good.
Now we rebuild.
One Caught in the Cold, see if it feels okay, but yeah, in general, Flash Freeze is good. Yeah, Darius is just a card that's, like, good on his own. So, like, playing extra cards to be good with Darius doesn't seem necessary. See, I'm actually kind of on the opposite, Maro. I'm actually not a huge fan of Reckoning, because it exposes you to getting blown out in a lot of situations. I almost cut the one Reckoning that was in, but I think it's fine as the cheeky one of. When it's Reckoning is a card that when it's good, it's great, but it's frequently just an awkward rots in your hand. Yeah, if you can play Darius leveled on 6, you're usually in a really good spot. Let's do this, because if they have Make It Rain, we can save it with Troll Chant. Read. Yeah, Reckoning's just really slow against a lot of the aggressive decks in the format. I think not. They have Ravenous block here. They can kill Ashe, but that's not too big of a deal, I don't think. Well, easy open attacks. Sure, still get to Ether 3-2 here, which is nice. Unfortunately, not going to be able to play a leveled Darius. Flash Freeze is an incredible draw here. Means we don't have to take 6. All the cards are spoiled, Whip Racer. There are not new cards coming. We have all of them. I don't actually think the Lee Sin deck is busted in terms of power level, but I do think in terms of how it feels to play against, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed.
You're mine.
Yeah, this is probably a apprehend turn, depending on what they do.
Sacrifices must be made. Victory awaits.
I assume Darius is about to get Ravenous Flocked here.
Remember me.
Get bloody, get paid.
I'm just passing here. They didn't have Flock. Okay, it's really good for us.
Witness strength.
How does Runeterra? Kind of underwhelming. This Decimate is another Darius.
Victory
So I wanted to hold on to it in case they killed the Darius I already had.
There is no excess when victory is at stake.
Oh, I'm so fucking dumb. They just drew a Swain. They just drew it. I was like, they didn't have it, but they just drew it. That's embarrassing. It's fine. We weren't winning anyways. We can't beat. It doesn't matter. We can't win anyways.
Battle is lost, but the war.
That was obviously a bad play to the heads-up block, but we also just can't beat Boat Swain, right? Boat Swain is not beatable. That's fine. It was a mistake, but then it wasn't a mistake because our only out was them messing up. So, yeah, I think it doesn't matter. We weren't winning that game regardless. Mono Braum. A mulligan those looking for more aggressive cards. Yeah, Calling Strike's not bad against Braum. What would Decimate the previous turn have done, Pseudo Pally? Can you explain why you think it would have done it? What would them being 4 points of life lower have changed? Because I'm missing it, so please explain. How would it? No, it wouldn't have leveled Darius. He wouldn't die to Flock? Well, how do you know they don't have a Flock already in their hand? So you're saying I shouldn't play around. So you're saying I should level the Darius to play around Flock, but what you're doing doesn't actually play around Flock because if they have it, they just Flock him in response. So what you're saying take this play to play around Flock, but your play doesn't actually play around Flock. In fact, it gets blown out by it. Because if they have Flock, I Decimate, they Flock him in response. Which is what I was attempting to play around by not playing it out there. My goal in that instance was to not get got by Flock.
Poor man's gone mad.
Let us get going.
Sounds flocking complicated.
Can't be.
Insert Spider-Man meme here. Yeah, and I think you could make the argument that okay, we can't beat Flock and you're supposed to go all in there. And I think that could be a reasonable argument. But that's not the argument being made. But I think you're right based on the position that we were in. Perhaps I should have tried to push all in that previous turn. I think that that's a good observation. That I should have perhaps tried to push all in.
I will unite the Freljord.
I came to fight.
Show me a target.
How do I want to attack here? I can only play one combat trick. So if I attack like this and they trade Yetis, am I okay trading Yetis? I think I am. Oh, I can technically 2-chance, huh? Maybe I am supposed to attack with the 3/3s. This works out really well for us. I was definitely expecting them to, trade Yetis and then try and block my Ashe with the 3/3. I understand you were trying to make a dad joke there, but the actual problem was the fact that I chose to play around Flock and shouldn't have. That was the issue with what I did. I shouldn't have played around Flock, and I did.
My axe is ready. Tread carefully. Not so fast. They're coming! Hide!
Transfusion? Okay, that was not what I was playing around. That's fine, though, I think. The sport exchange seems reasonable for us. Is there any difference between a sub here and a $5 pledge through Patreon for you? There is not. My Lito's full. Whichever is more convenient for you. They all end up in the same place. You get fun badges and sub perks on Twitch if you sub on Twitch. So there's more extras for Twitch, but like Patreon, for example, still gets you into my Twitch sub server, for example. My Patreon's linked to that as well. Cheaper N, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I really appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way this month and keeping me employed. Does Patreon take the same cut as Twitch? I'm gonna be honest, I don't know offhand what cut Patreon takes. I didn't know Jeff had a Patreon. I think my Patreon has like less than a dozen people on it. I just believe in taking money from people in whatever way they're willing to give you money, so I have it set up because it's pretty low effort to set up.
Line up.
I helped build this empire.
But it technically exists. I don't really promote it. If people ask, it's there though. Another ally survives damage, grant it 1 attack. That's kind of sweet with the Tribalists here. What if we Tavern Keeper my Enraged Jetty?
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
think I have decent attacks here. They have big butts, I cannot lie.
Patience.
Leave your bags in the door.
So, next turn... Are we going to get a next turn? Question 1. So Ashe is 2 away from leveling. So I'm going to go ahead and Caught in the Cold here. And then she'll attack, and then this won't be able to block either. Well, pretty good attacks here.
Fight or die. Swiftly now. I'll lead us to victory.
Yeah, what Morrow said is the unfortunate truth. Everybody that's watching any Twitch stream is supporting Amazon.
Take everything.
There is an ethical consumption under capitalism, and you basically can't escape giving Amazon some amount of money in today's world. They just have a hand in everything. Can I do this here and keep Ashe's life total nice and high so she doesn't die by mistake? If you would like to stick it to Amazon as opposed to not using their services, which is basically impossible, I would encourage you to vote for politicians who will hold them accountable and implement things that will, you know, regulate them.
I misjudged.
Yeah, like most of the internet is hosted on AWS servers at this point. Like, it's just what the reality is. Is what it is, what it is.
So many tinies.
Move to Switzerland with me and we can raise some llamas. Switzerland is on the list of places I wouldn't mind immigrating to if my wife ever lost her job.
This one's on the house.
Gamboni Machine, thanks for the 21 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, this was a bad attack, right? 'Cause it's about to die. To the person who I just timed out in chat, you were timed out for what's spreading called, what we call FUD, or fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The idea that all politicians are the same is bullshit nonsense, and it is a pro-Republican point of view. I know you probably fancy yourself some type of enlightened centrist by saying they're all bad, but that's just not true. You know who benefits when you say everyone's a criminal? The actual criminals are the ones who benefit. So you're right that there are a number of politicians who will not be holding large money groups accountable, but there are also a number who are working to implement actual change, especially in the United States. If you're not familiar with the group called the Justice Democrats, who elected Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and the rest of the squad, I'd encourage you to educate and inform yourself, as opposed to spreading alt-right FUD.
Now begins a new era of peace.
The moral equivalency, or the idea that all immoral actions are equally bad, is a propaganda tool. That is exactly correct. Get Ilhan a Gundam. I follow her. I saw those tweets. They were good. Large Brandon, thank you for the half of your support. I really appreciate the prime. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Damn it, didn't we make a KDA command? I swear we made a KDA command. Oh, KD8 cards. There we go. Alright. Fixed. Fixed it. Alright. Lee Sin Zed. Ooh. Frostbites look good here. I'm gonna mulligan the Tavern Keeper. I think, because their deck's usually not too aggressive. Is it fair to say politics is a pit mostly filled with snakes? No, statements, and all of those, most of them suck type statements are there to create apathy, and apathy benefits the status quo and oppression. Don't create apathy.
Control the world within.
Encourage people to get involved. Your vote matters. If your vote didn't matter, the GOP wouldn't spend so much time preventing you from voting.
Gems are superb.
Bad for the teeth, though. That's just not even Troll Toolboxer. Like, a lot of local elections are frequently decided by very small numbers of votes. I think I'm just playing another Archer out here. I feel like, so they're a combo aggro deck, so I feel like I need to be the one applying pressure to them.
My life for Avarosa.
Got a whole lot of awkward situational cards in our hand, huh?
Warm hearts and hot soup.
Force is meaningless without skill.
A pleasure to see you, Master.
Correct. There are plenty of things to criticize, especially about neoliberals like Joe Biden, but the stark difference between a neoliberal like Joe Biden and a fascist like Donald Trump is night and day. I would love to remove all of the fascists and people protecting them from office so we can have a real discussion about the benefits between progressive policies and corporate neoliberal shills like Joe Biden. But while the alternative is currently fascism, there's not really a good space to stand on there. I think we're super dead here, right? Like, these stuns are awkward, Reckoning looks a little mediocre, these gems are permanent attack buffs, so this is going to be big enough to dodge Reckoning here soon. Let's pass and see what they do. Maybe Brittle Steel lets us kill this, perhaps, could be our saving grace.
Our enemies cannot hide.
They won't suffer long.
Center your spirit.
Joe Biden's current campaign platform is fairly far to the left for a typical U.S. president, but that also speaks kind of volumes to about like how far center right U.S. politics are on average, more so than how progressive Joe Biden actually is. Hey, Shaw, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate the prime. Welcome back.
Leave your bags in the door.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
When we return malevolence. This is actually a really good draw, because this can let us shrink the power on Lee Sin, so we can still kill him with Reckoning.
Is all in the mind.
I think I'm just supposed to pass here, right?
I'll see this through.
I fight with my spirit, not my fists.
So they played the gem there because both of these are going to make lifelink things next turn. Hopefully, our opponent's going to start the turn with a slow spell here, so we can apprehend this to start. If they just play a bunch of burst spells, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Which looks like what is happening here, unfortunately.
As the dragon wills.
We will definitely talk about the cosmetics in the patch notes.
Enter your spirit.
And again, this instance here is why I kind of hope this card gets adjusted in the patch notes today. Like, yeah. Just not a... Lee Sin currently is the one thing I'm not a fan of in Runeterra. There's also enough decks in the format that you, like, you don't play against it constantly. Like, this is the first Lee Sin matchup we've played today in 2 hours, so, like, it's kind of whatever, but I would prefer if that wasn't something you had to experience. You could have survived with Troll Chant. No, they had a spell shield on it. So, Luzzy, it being difficult for people to register to vote and actually cast their ballots is a feature, not a bug. That is intentional. There is an entire political party that stands to benefit from fewer people voting. If we wanted people to actually vote in the United States, we'd automatically register them. It would be opt-out, not opt-in. Piltover Shadow Isle. So there was a control deck that was these two regions playing at least for a little bit. I wonder if they're playing that and like top-ended Captain Farron. They could also be something aggressive. I'm mulligan the flash freeze when I keep these other three, just in case they're aggressive. I agree, Ribson, that the Lee Sin deck feels a lot like a Magic deck in a bad way. Oh, not Farron, Ledros. Ledros is the card I'm thinking of, not Farron. Thank you for the correction. The 9 drop. Okay, and they are not playing the control deck I was thinking of. This looks like an aggro deck. I think there are 100 different solutions they could do to make the Lee Sin deck not be offensive. I think there are lots of them, and I hope they pick one of them to make.
Can't be.
If the U.S. was a different country, the U.S. would have invaded by now to fix their democracy and take their oil. Ain't that the God's honest truth?
Let's make it be.
Relying solely on politicians is inefficient. That's just not true. Literally, the point of protesting in the streets is to get the politicians to do things. And in order for protesting applying pressure to be meaningful, you need politicians who are willing to make changes. Don't just protest. Run for office. If a third of the people out there protesting, a quarter of the people, a tenth of the people protesting all ran for local and state offices, the world would be a much better place.
Oh, fresh
want to do this turn. If I play Ashe, I have 8 mana total. With 8 mana, after I play Ashe, I can Culling Strike plus Brittle Steel or Troll Chant plus Brittle Steel. That's probably fine. I think I just want more blockers down since they're going to get to hook 2 of my things with saplings. And also, that's a good thing to note too, turn-based reflexes. Like, obviously, if you think the protests are a good thing and reasonable, you probably agree with me on a lot of things that I'm saying, but you hurt the causes you profess to be for and to help when you create voter apathy. So, like, if you are really a leftist, doing things like making the false equivalencies like they're all the same or they all suck and stuff like that, that hurts what you claim to want to be helping.
I've carved meat bigger than you.
Hey, Golgamar, thanks for the 18 months. I appreciate that. You know what? Honestly, Violet Journey, your dad being a poll worker because he's worried about voter fraud might actually be one of the things that helps get through to him, because witnessing the fact that there won't be voter fraud might be a thing that cuts through the BS. Like, actual voter fraud is basically non-existent, asterisk, except when it's executed by Republicans. Like, putting fake ballot boxes out in California, or the mess that happened in Carolina. Was it North Carolina or South Carolina? One of the Carolinas. This Brittle Steel might not even be necessary here, because, like, this is another Ashe, but this is probably fine. I didn't say that, though. Like, don't pick and choose what you're listening to the words out of my mouth. I literally didn't say, just say, I voted and be done. The actual words that fell out of my mouth, if you listen to what I'm saying, instead of just waiting for a chance to respond so you can disagree with me, is run for office and be the change you think is important to see. No, they didn't listen because they were just waiting to respond.
But they're saplings.
Because guess what? I agree with the point you just said that I didn't make, which is just voting and being done isn't enough. And I understand that. That's why I didn't say it. I'm gonna use Culling Strike here so we don't burn a bunch of mana. I'm honestly about ready to run for office for myself. There's a number of local positions where you can get involved with local government where they're not even full-time jobs. Where, like, you can have a normal job and, like, still participate in and help your community and improve things for people. I think we're just Icevale Archering. They're 4-3 here.
Winter take you.
We'll get patch notes today. What does it mean, rally on apprehend? Rally means you gain an attack token. So if you've already attacked, you get to attack again. And if you haven't attacked, or if it's their turn to attack, you get to attack that turn as well.
Faster than my arrow?
I don't think running for office or voting are going to make the changes we need. There's a lot more to be gained through outreach, organizing, and mutual aid. But that's the thing, Mad Hatter. If you're running for office in the appropriate way to help people, organizing, outreach, mutual aid, those are part of running for office. So, like, I feel like saying that, like, okay, these are things that need to happen. Like, yeah, that's part of running for office, is doing those things. If you're running for office for the right reasons, those are things you're going to be doing when you run. We have Darius here with the apprehend now. So hopefully going to kill them this turn on the back of the rally.
Swiftly now.
This gets to frostbite that. And she's gonna level next time we attack here.
No, 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 no.
Oh no! Oh no, do we not have anything to stun? Oh no! What if they don't give us anything to stun, chat? I've made a terrible mistake. I shouldn't have attacked with the 3-1. God bless you, opponent, looking out for us.
I know what lurks in the shadows. My aim is true.
To be fair, they can't not play a unit, right? Like, if they just wait till their next turn to play a unit, I get to apprehend them then and then attack.
The war is
I guess they give themselves one more turn to draw a piece of removal, but... The Laughing Elise or the Scheming Thresh? I like the Elise emote better. Is there a keyboard shortcut to pass in Runeterra? Yeah, space should be passed. Part of the reason why you're saying there's negative momentum, though, Had Matter, is because you don't have the right people in those positions. And you're not going to be able, like, people talking about, like, when people talk about how you can't just run, like, people, there's a lot of people that act like running for office doesn't matter. And, like, if you don't have people running for office that can affect the change you want, unless your end goal from the protest is, like, literally setting fire to every town hall and, like committing literal acts of terrorism and burning down the existing system, you need good people in positions of power. Like, this, it just has to happen. It's not a step that you can sidestep. It's important.
victory requires a sharp blade. A little luck for those who need it.
My 5-1 is not so good against their 1-2, chat. Probably Brittle Steel our way or Troll Chant our way through it, but...
Oh yeah, that's a pretty sparkle flag. Be brave.
This cannot block. Not that we really want to, even if we could. Not 1x creatures, yep. I mean, Troll Chant's gonna be pretty good here, right? We get to attack and hook both of these and save both of our things.
Bask in her radiant blessing.
Face me, you're mine.
Protector. Have faith.
I think, Had Matter, you are vastly overestimating how difficult it is to elect people to meaningful positions in local government. One of the big problems that leftists in the United States have had for a long time now is they undervalue how important local government is. If every Bernie bro out there that was salty that Bernie didn't get the presidential nominee focused their energy instead of being a salty little wanker on a congressional run or a mayor's office or local auditors or all these other positions that are important and meaningful, judges, sheriffs, most sheriffs are elected positions, like, there are so many elected positions on these down ballot things that really matter. Yeah, district attorneys. The person that was largely responsible for not not charging the people that murdered Breonna Taylor with murder is an elected position. Those elections matter, and they have consequences too. Sheriff is a huge one. If you haven't watched last week tonight's bit on sheriffs, it's very good.
My lands need center your spirit.
This exchange seems really good for us if they take it, which they are not. Okay. Alright, so really solid open attacks here, right?
Swiftly now, face me.
So if they have 2 spells here, obviously they can give this barrier, which is the really tough part about Lee Sin. You basically just can't interact with him inside of combat if their deck is built correctly. I think I'm freezing this to keep my thing alive. Sure, but again, Blender Bottle, nobody reasonable is telling you all you need to do is vote. They're just saying that ignoring voting or acting like it doesn't matter is living in a delusional non-reality.
I need just a moment.
Hey, O'Hare, thanks for the 14 months. I really appreciate that. Loving the Runeterra, but haven't made it to a live one in a while. Busy getting hit by 2 hurricanes. Stay safe out there. The world is crazy for a lot of reasons.
Mine is the hand of Noxus.
Descend upon them.
The dragon lives. Strike firmly.
This won't be a fair fight.
We'll find you.
Avarosans, you're mine. Face me.
Again, want to open on attack so my opponent can't play slow spells to protect Lee Sin. Yeah, caught in the cold would be much better as Frostbite. And it's not close.
Conflict is all.
Hello, youngest son. How's it going? How are your classes this morning? Good?
Remember me. Remember me.
Yep. And then there's a good chance we just get combo killed next turn, right?
Leave your bags in the door.
Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to play Trapper there. Yeah, if they have to stop to Zenith Blade here, we get to Caught in the Cold this, he said before it gains Spell Shield.
Patience.
I feel like spells that ignore Spell Shield is a little bit convoluted. They could make spells that do a thing twice to effectively ignore shield without explicitly interacting with it. Ooh, that's neat. Yeah, you can have like two interactive effects where you just like get to ignore part of it. I like that suggestion. That's a very elegant way of allowing you to interact past it. They do not tear in terror, so Spell Shield insulates just the thing with Spell Shield against those targeted things. So like, if you Spell Shield something in response to a Ruination, the thing with Spell Shield survives, which is nice. It gets rid of the Spell Shield, but your thing still survives, which is a really elegant way of doing it. Spell Shield feels like a less offensive hexproof in a lot of ways.
My lands need me. Prepare yourself.
Well, we're not going to get combo killed this turn at least, so, you know, baby steps.
I'll see this through.
And they used Will of Iona there as their play to bounce Darius, which kind of implies to me like they don't have that many more spells. So that seems good for us.
Warm hearts and hot soup.
What did we catch?
While Biden has some parts of his history that are definitely not great, Lord Apollo, I would definitely encourage you to allow people to be able to change. And Biden and Harris's current platforms are really important. Also, another thing that I think a lot of progressives have unfairly done in characterization of Kamala Harris is they largely ignore her more recent record in the Senate while condemning her attorney general history, which came before that. Human beings evolve and change over time. And the people who Harris and Biden are today aren't the people they were many years ago. Like all of us at home, they're allowed to grow and change their opinions based on new information. You can't have it both ways. You can't demand that people be reasonable and change their positions when you present new information to them, but then still condemn them and crucify them and say you're never going to trust them based on their history from before they changed.
Another round.
Believe or burn.
I will not hold back.
We get to level Darius here. If we don't get combo killed, we have a good chance.
Our enemies cannot hide.
I'm gonna give Lee Sin Barrier here, I assume. Probably give one of these enough attack to kill a 3/3.
Conflict is all in the mind. The dragon spirit awakens.
Alright, so gotta dodge the overwhelm spell still next turn. That's actually a really good drop. It's gonna find us an Ashe or Darius here.
Traveler.
As tall as a mountain and covered in ice.
Covered in ice.
Stories.
Conflict is all in the mind.
We're gonna wait to play Ashe out because I don't want them to kill her.
Our enemies cannot hide.
Celestial power.
Prepare yourself.
Does this give one attack? Does this give one attack? I believe so, Otter. No, I'm counting the support already. So they're at 18. If this gives attack, we die. So I was counting the support already. Oh, it doesn't have trample. Good call. Good call. All right, are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do it? That's a Lulu juice box board state if I ever saw one. Ashe's frostbite on attack dodges spell shield. See how reasonable this card is when it doesn't combo kill you with overwhelm, chat? Give me patch notes, Riot! Give me patch notes. Does spell shield last until it's broken? It depends on how it's given, Toolboxer. So some things grant spell shield until it's broken, other things are just until end of turn.
I will not hold back. Conflict is all in the mind.
we faded Pale Cascade, chat. Dodging bullets like Neo in the Matrix. There's a patch in 50 minutes, or at least that's when my embargo lifts. Embargoes! NDAs! This hand actually seems great against a control deck, huh? Got Glory Seeker on 2, and then Trapper makes some 5/5s. Darius is the top end of the curve. Yes, that's why they were looking for Pale Cascade, Toolboxer. If they had found Pale Cascade, they could have given it attack and then blocked something. So there is counterplay to Ashe in that way.
I'm through waiting.
Vile Beast Me Daddy. Just a catalyst. Grinding stones. Alright, trundle me, baby.
Patience.
Patience.
Hop on the train.
You're mine.
Our opponent's got some ramp, chat. We have a grasp here. Hey, thanks for the 15 months, Coke. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Stay safe out there.
Can't be.
That can't be. This is my 3-3 for 3. There are many like it, but this one is mine. So they get to turn 6 War Mothers me.
We fight for one failure.
All right, we dodged the turn 6 War Mothers. So step 1. I got my vote by mail ballot the other day. Am I supposed to play the Yeti out? So the question I have to ask myself this turn is, can I win this game if they have Ruination? So, like, is holding the Yeti back going to be enough to beat Ruination? And I think the answer is no, right? And I think if the answer is I can't beat it, we just shouldn't play around it. Let's just get this down and smash them.
The War Mother will unite us all.
The War Mother will unite us all. You want to order Darius as your last attacker always? So that way, if these level him up, you get to get through. All of the fake collection boxes were in California, to my knowledge. But yeah, I'm going to make sure it gets in the right place. I missed this play yesterday, and it was real unfortunate. I won't miss it again. You can in fact teach a dumb dog new tricks. Yeah, I think we're dead, chat. Yeah, Ashe could maybe steal.
My blade grows restless.
Yeah, it's a variation of that Starkind. That's attempting to play some Darius instead of Sejuani. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's try one or two more here for some patch notes. Targan Hermadinger. Bastion Dinger, chat. I think we're mulliganing this. If we're looking for pressure. Hey, look at that. Nice solid curve here. What do you have to tell me, oldest son? That card is broken.
My faith protects me.
What did I do to it? It was a very bad card, so I broke it. Yeah, it was very, very mean, so we got rid of it. Mean card, yep. It is definitely a Teferi time rambler.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
Guilt, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. What do you need to tell me?
And well, so well he said no. I bet this is mommy cut my teeth.
Mommy's talking to your teacher? That's good. Have fun, dude.
Fall, heretic! You cannot sway me. Fall, heretic!
Jacob found some of the hair that I've lost in my old age, chat. Before I had children, I had hair, I promise.
Answers, I have them.
Alright, how are we sequencing here? Probably Hawk into Babblingberg. Although I guess if I Babblingberg, I can't play... Maybe I'm just supposed to Babblingberg to try and draw the Yeti there. And go like Berg Yeti this turn.
Divert our power to main laser! Yes, again!
Well, we've got blocks for fearsome things at least. Hey, Chris, thank you for the 3rd of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope you're staying safe out there wherever you're at. Brittle Steel, very good against robots other than T-Hex. They all have 1 toughness, except for the last one, which is an 8/8.
Also designed an evil's rapid projectile firing.
On the train.
Oh dear.
Almost level Darius here. This Decimate could get us there next turn of the turn after. Before we attack. That's not bad. So we can go 1, 2, 3 this turn, have 1 mana left over, and then we can Decimate and then attack the following turn. That's what they do here. They could have something like a beam to kill Darius as well. If they go beam into T-Hex here, we could maybe be in a little bit of trouble.
A fine spectrum of pyrotechnics.
Yep. Wait, was their hand full? Their hand was full. Oh gosh, that's good. That's a huge mess up on their part.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
Watch out.
Alright, well now we're opening attacks.
What did you catch?
Now, I'm not going to Decimate, I'm just going to go ahead and open attacks.
I'm through waiting. Strength.
You are mine.
It's a few, their hand is full, right? What's the best type of card advantage? Killing them with cards in their hand. This attack's a 10 for 0. I mean, they could have another Mystic Shot here. And that one's not going to do it. I mean, to be fair, Troll Chant was just Elixir there, right? Like Elixir would have done the same thing. We didn't need to wipe power off of this. Yeah, opponent definitely did not realize their progress day was not going to get to make a T-Hex.
Well, Noxus is proud.
Pretty easy mistake to make. Is Darius just a huge beater? Yep. I think this is another game where we naked Ice Veil Archer on 2 just to get a 3-1 down. So we can start pressuring them. We're definitely the beatdown in this matchup. They are the War Mother's control deck, so we want to end the game sooner rather than later. The longer the game goes, the more likely our opponent is to win. I enjoy wonderful emotes, but there is such a thing as too much.
A true Freljordian welcome.
Yeah, if I'm being blunt, Carafe, the amount of money I would need to be paid to write good written content means it's probably not anywhere near profitable for people to pay me to write stuff. I had already stopped doing written content for Magic for a long time because the rates weren't worth it, and I imagine Magic rates are probably higher than what Runeterra would be because the secondary market largely funds it.
I'm through waiting.
Like, writing a decent, meaningful article takes like 4 to 5 hours a lot of time if you're not just throwing away garbage. And like generally speaking, if I'm going to spend 4 to 5 hours working on a content piece, I'm better invested taking that time and streaming with it. He's so cute. Like another Vital Feast here. I think we go Yeti Trapper here. Just trying to work our way to the next Yeti.
Can't be.
Huh? So I have 6 resources total. I think I'm going to lead on Yeti here and see what they do. Hopefully they play the 5/5 for 5, and then I get to go Ice Veil Archer, Glory Seeker, blow them out.
King of Trolls coming through.
All the world on
Okay, with
one
that,
arrow.
we'll just Ashe here. So they're going to take 13 inside of combat here. So this has regeneration, so it has a free block. Yeah, so they'll go to 7 here. Our opponent's lack of ramp in their start's been real good for us.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
Secure the kill. This is a good general note, in addition to the person that was just timed out. If you're going to be critical of a deck that I'm playing or that my opponent's playing, be constructive in your criticism. Otherwise, it's a good way to get a quick 10-minute break in my chat. So, it's fine to talk about how you think their deck might not be great or something that I'm doing is wrong, but try and do it from a position of helping people learn. Say, this seems bad because, and then articulate yourself.
A chill in the air.
So they're going to go up to 8 mana next turn, which means they get to deploy Ice Pillar. What's our best draw? Harsh Winds is lethal.
You are mine.
The children find the most random things to watch on streaming services. It's hilarious.
What are they into right now?
I don't know, Jacob's watching something, it's called like Found Treasure and Abandoned Artifacts, and they're like just showing boards and like straw that you make a broom out of, and then the kid goes, like a riding broom? Do you want me to do a Pokemon raid for you? We don't need you.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
I like shiny things.
I know at least one of them's watching. Let's see if they say okay, we'll invite you.
Okay, so this works out really well. I get to go ahead and Troll Chant here to save this and Ashe. Much, much better than Elixir in that instance there. Opponent's going to 4, and we're keeping most of our board here.
$30. How's your phone work?
Oh, right. I don't have navigation buttons on it. It's gestures. I assume the opponent is sitting here spamming emotes currently, because we muted them earlier for doing such. Right? Right, Posetas? So their Trundle does regenerate here. I don't think... Actually, they're not... I should play Trapper out here because they're only going to have 8 mana next turn, so they can't Ruination. They had 8 this turn, but they hit a ramp card that I killed. Yeah, go for it. Have fun.
It's always cold in the Freljord. One troll to rule them all.
Actually, I shouldn't do this. It's going to gain attack when it attacks, right? I guess there's a chance that it doesn't gain enough attack to kill my Enraged Jetty, though. This is an Ashe, so I don't really know if I want to Flash Freeze here. Do this. This means they have to have 3 8+ cost things in their hand to kill this. Which is not impossible, but it's unlikely. Ice Veil and take the hit. Well, they're likely, if they can kill Yeti, to hook Yeti, because it's vulnerable from the Ice Pillar. That's super unfortunate. Guess I have another technically.
Faster than my arrow? I think
So now they only need 1 8+ cost card in their hand. But I do have them dead to open attacks next turn at least. That's a good observation. If they want to attack with Trundle, they trade with Yeti. Oh, wow, that's a good. It's a good generation. Well, I mean, this is a lethal attack, right?
I'll lead us to victory.
Any piece of removal kills us here, though. They have a second Vengeance. Grasp keeps them alive here too. They can grasp my 3/1 and then they go to 1. Close game. Yeah, I think the opponent's archetype. They had it all. I mean, like, they had a bunch of cards in their hand, chat. I think the opponent's archetype is a big part of why the Ashe Frostbite decks in general kind of fell off the map. Like, obviously this one's doing a little bit different things with Darius at the top end as opposed to Sajani, but I think, and honestly, I think Darius is probably better in that matchup than Sajani is, because Darius is more aggressive, but these kind of mid-rangey aggro decks, they just have a hard time against the ramp control decks, and I don't really know that you can make this archetype meaningfully better in that matchup without also giving up a bunch of points in the pirate aggro matchup. Yeah, I think, and like, that game there that was really close, our opponent had kind of a slow start, right? Like, we had played that matchup twice in this set today, and when they had ramp cards early, they ran us down very quickly, and even that game where they didn't have ramp early, we still had an uphill battle, because their deck's just bigger than ours. That's an interesting thought. Is Wolf worth considering? Yeah, that could maybe be okay. You could cut some of these cuter cards and just play Rhyme Fangs. I don't hate that. This is another card that's like okay against aggro too. Not good, but okay. Maybe if you did something like this, like cut the Reckoning, the Caught in the Cold, and a Culling Strike. Wolf fills a very similar role to Culling Strike in a lot of places, except Wolf is also proactive. I kind of like that suggestion. I bet, like, I don't know that necessarily makes that matchup good, but I think that definitely makes it better, right? Like, it eats early ramp cards, and more importantly, it just lets you apply pressure when they don't have things in play. So I like that. I like that a lot. Apprehend? I don't know. I kind of liked Apprehend in a couple of spots. Maybe if you wanted to get rid of it, you could put in some other early pressure. But I definitely think that's probably the direction you want to go to try and make that ramp matchup better, is play more modal things. So, like, maybe if you wanted to get rid of Apprehend, you could play some Sentries. It's just a good card that's like okay against aggro and fine against control. So yeah, that seems fine. I like that suggestion. I think that's a good direction to go in overall. I think my big takeaway from playing this set today is I did really like Darius as a top end. It definitely just hits harder than Sajani, and I definitely think this deck is better when it's getting to be a more aggressively slanted mid-range deck, and this did a good job of filling that role for us. Alright, I think I want to hang out and do a live reaction to patch notes, if those hopefully go up in 20 minutes. I'm going to run to the restroom really quick. So I'm gonna BRB for just a moment, but I'm going to leave the stream up so we can look at patch notes together when they go up here in a hot second. So be back in just a couple minutes.